I will,
I just hit the record because I don't know if it was recording. Sorry, Rumen. Go on.
and okay, and and then this phenomenon, when you see Venus actually entering inside the Pleiades,
Mm-hmm.
which should be very, very, um, a very cool view to see.
Oh, yeah, of course. Phenomenal.
Uh, so, and I will show you now. Let me see where I go
So
here.
was that Venus as a morning star?
Uh,
Do you remember?
no, no, it's as an evening star.
Evening star. Okay.
Yeah. So I must find then something else here, which I have computed.
Mm-hmm.
I have computed something which is okay. I'll share now again. Okay. Um, so you see this here. It's mm, Venus inside the Pleiades.
Okay. So can you can you
2000,
can you explain what that is exactly?
uh, as you see here, for example, in 2028,
Mm-hmm.
like 2 years from now, we have Venus, the green one here,
Okay.
and it's not really inside, but it's almost there.
Uh-huh.
Like you see the stars,
Mm-hmm.
um, and then in 2036, on the 4th of April,
Mm-hmm.
then Venus will be really inside the Pleiades.
Right.
So uh, it turns out that this is a 243 years cycle.
243. Hmm.
243, yeah, like every 243 years,
Mm-hmm.
Venus enters the Pleiades.
That's very close to a Pluto cycle. 248.
So if we look back in time,
Mm-hmm.
243 years, this is what we will get. Almost the same.
Okay.
So then we can look what happened in these
Mm-hmm.
years.
Yeah.
So in 1793,
Mm-hmm.
the French Revolution and the king guillotined.
Mm.
So what is happening here? And then before that, in 1785, there was eruption of a volcano,
Mm-hmm.
which happened 2 years before that. So this is a period of hunger followed by revolution and the Napoleonic Wars. This is a whole period
Mm.
of such upheaval.
Mm.
Also, mm, there is also an omen
Mm-hmm.
about this, which I give it here. Uh, the omen means that actually something will change in the in the countries in the world, like the council of the gods for the country changes. This means that the the ruling the ruling people change.
Mm,
Um, what is actually happening here?
hmm
Like revolutions
hmm
and wars.
mm. So does that
Um,
mean that because it's 2028, the next one, does that
mhm.
mean that that's things will escalate? Because we've got very cataclysmic events taking place right now, obviously everywhere. Does that mean it's going to get worse in 2028, or it will just be like a full climax and then things will turn around? How would you explain that?
Well, mm, this is something this is a serious prognosis,
Mm,
but I believe um, that we're moving downwards.
mm,
What I can see now, well, today is what is today? The 23rd
mm-hmm,
already
mm-hmm.
of March 2026, right?
Yeah.
So definitely, definitely, we should expect not very easy period
Mm,
in all these years.
mm. So
But
from now until 2028, we can expect still a lot more difficult things to be happening, yes?
I think so, even to 36.
Right. Mm,
Actually, you know, I believe, I believe everything started. Everything started in 2019.
yeah.
Like in 2019, there was a solar eclipse
Mm-hmm.
on the summer solstice,
Mm-hmm.
which is a very serious eclipse
Mm,
because it happens in the place on the ecliptic where the sun is at its maximum might and power, and
mm,
right there, bah, the
mm,
shadow,
mm,
the shadow of the destruction
mm-hmm.
of this power in the cosmos.
Mm, yeah.
Uh,
And
the
also that was when in at least in the tropical zodiac, that's when the Saturn Pluto conjunction occurred in the tropical zodiac, right? So, that was a big marker. Saturn Pluto conjunction is a big, big deal, big aspect. Two very difficult planets. So that coincided at the same time. I was thinking about 2019 just last night in my mind, thinking how things have been, since then. Hmm.
yeah.
So,
Also, there
mm,
was in 2019 there was this very strange event with the Betelgeuse star,
okay.
the Betelgeuse star from Orion,
Hmm.
which is his right shoulder.
Right. What does that mean? His right shoulder. Okay.
You see,
Mm,
with his left arm, he is holding a shield,
Yeah.
and with his right hand he is holding one weapon,
Mm.
a chain, and in the end of this chain there is a huge iron ball,
Oh, yeah.
which is the star Capella, the
Right.
whole end.
Okay. Yeah.
So this star here
Yeah.
disappeared, for 3 months. She was very, very faint,
Wow.
and she's one of the brightest stars.
Okay.
And after 3 months, she reappeared. 3 months, 3 years of
Mm.
psychiatric ward. The
Yeah.
whole world became a psychiatry
Yeah.
with this kind of COVID mass
Yeah.
psychosis.
Yeah. That's a
My
great way
God.
to describe it.
Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
so
Wow. Okay. Mm.
and and this and this same solar eclipse will repeat in 2032.
Oh, okay.
So it will be 13 years after 2019.
Mm.
So yeah, I would take 2019 like the real start of this train of horror.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Like first it is the COVID,
Yeah.
then there is the war
Mm.
in Ukraine, and now what we have now is, my God,
Yeah. Yeah. It's insane.
it is absolutely.
So, Roman, with the with what your observation with Venus, meeting with the Pleiades, because there will be a lot of people that when they look at the Pleiades, they're in a school of thought that the Pleiades, have this higher consciousness. They take us into this transcended field, etc. Fine, there's a school of thought in that way. But we know that there is this very deep uh, Greek mythology about the Pleiades, which are the seven sisters, right? And how they were hunted. They were hunted, right? And so regarding the Greek myth, the depth of that story, is that why we're seeing these horrible things taking place on Earth? Because in the same way they were hunted, it's like humanity is being hunted as well, you could say, right, in different ways, since COVID started, right? So is that how you see it, or is there another story that I'm not aware of? How would you explain the Pleiades? Why is it such a dark, difficult period for us, especially with Venus, Because people would not normally think, Venus with the Pleiades, people would think that that's such a beautiful thing. But you've outlined very clearly, historically speaking, that when the Pleiades and Venus meet, there's devastating psychosis happening on the earth. Yes, there's revolutions too, and that's important, and that changes the story. But there's, really severe devastation. Is that because of the story of the sisters, how they were hunted by Orion?
in in Babylon,
Mm,
the Pleiades, the seven stars of the Pleiades, there were special spirits which were accompanying Nergal. Nergal is Mars.
yeah.
He is god of plague, of war, and these seven guys, which were given to him, are these Pleiades,
Right.
and they are given to him to help him in his job, which was to kill people.
Really?
Yes. So also they all these seven spirits, uh, Sebitu, Sebitu, uh, they had they had names. They had names, and we know, for example, that their names were um, uh, Ref. Like one of them will say, "I am the angriness," Ref. The other one will say, "I am hatred." The third one will say, "I am killing." So
Is that
all
right?
these
Okay.
demons.
Hmm.
So they were, this is the beginning of the Babylonian Taurus is very interesting place. Like we have there also the Gorgona
Hmm.
in the second degree of mm, Taurus, and in the sixth degree, in the fifth and the sixth degree, we have the Pleiades. So this is a kind of dark wood region of Taurus. Like after the Pleiades, in the 15th degree comes Aldebaran, you know, and then things become to brighten up. There are many bright stars there, many powerful stars, good stars. But the beginning of Taurus with Algol, which is like winking star,
Yeah.
Algol
Yeah.
is and the Pleiades also, which some ancient astrologers treated like nebulae, misty parts of the sky. So this part, I believe, the first maybe 10 degrees of Babylonian Taurus,
Hmm.
this this would be the place of temptations, of trials, of tribulations.
Hmm.
Mm,
Okay.
so Hermes said that the Taurus is the most powerful constellation
Hmm.
from the zodiacal images.
Really? Hmm.
Yes, uh, there there are so many bright stars there.
Hmm.
Capella,
Hmm.
uh,
Hmm.
Orion,
Hmm.
Rigel, uh,
Hmm.
so many bright stars there. Mm. However, the first 10 degrees, I think this is the test, and after that, then it's the real power of the sign.
Hmm.
But so this 243 years
Mm-hmm.
is actually this kind of cycle
Hmm.
of Venus inside the Pleiades, but also of Venus covering a fixed star.
Mm-hmm. Hmm.
So it's many different cycles has all planets in
Mm-hmm.
their combinations
Hmm.
with the fixed stars between them, mm, with the perigee, with the apogee.
Mm,
Uh, they have many different
mhm,
kind of cycles. So actually, Venus has also another cycle which is 478 years,
mhm,
and another one which is 721 years.
mm,
So actually, with this kind of cycles, we can take 2026,
mhm.
which is this year,
Yeah.
and then go back with these different cycles of Venus
Mhm,
and see the corresponding years
mhm,
in history.
mhm, mhm.
So this will be something like part of the Venusian DNA running through the centuries.
Mm.
And now I will show you. I made one such table here, which is on the next page.
Venusian DNA. I like that. Wow.
Yes, so here are the cycles,
Hmm.
the the giant cycles of Venus,
Wow.
and we take 2026 as the zero,
Yeah.
and we go back in time with all these different cycles of Venus,
Mm-hmm.
and then we have the corresponding year
Hmm.
here on the right.
So the 1783, that was the Renaissance period, I think, wasn't it? Which is very Venusian.
Uh,
Was it?
well, 1783 was like year like uh, before the French Revolution.
Yeah, okay.
Difficult year.
Mm.
Volcano erupting.
Mm.
Actually, what happened in this year was eruption of a volcano, which caused several years of hunger in Europe.
Mm.
Then the United States got independence accepted by Britain.
Mm.
And guess what? In this year, 1783, Russia annexes Crimea.
Russia, can you say that again?
Russia annexed Crimea. Crimea.
Um, I'm
Crimea, this peninsula south of Ukraine.
okay, okay, okay. So once again, very very big events on the earth with these Venus cycles, which again, is an interesting thing to think about because we always like to think of Venus as, the goddess of love and beauty, which she is that, of course. But we mustn't forget that she is also Pallas Athena. She's the warrior goddess. She has, her cycle when she's invisible, in the longer period of invisibility where she becomes the Gorgon, Persephone. So she has these elements to her that do describe these dark periods that I guess in the context of the cycles you're speaking to, although maybe not directly necessarily, but what we are seeing with Venus is the darker side of Venus, right? Which comes through in specific cycles that you've pointed to. Is that
Well,
correct?
the morning star
The
Venus.
morning star, yeah. Mm,
This is the divinity of war.
mm, yeah,
In Mesopotamia, this is Ishtar of Akkad.
yeah.
morning star.
Mm.
Then evening star, this is Aphrodite.
Yeah. 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 It explains so much, you know. I mean, we've looked at Venus in the context of, you know, world events, right? Huge turning points in history, big changes, right? And this is connecting to Venus. And you know, on a personal level, so many people who are born as a morning star, you know, they have that imprint, right, of the goddess of war in their DNA, you could say. So, you know, Venus comes through obviously personally and collectively as well in ways that people really don't think about very much, unless, of course, they study you know, these ancient teachings and understand that Venus's cycle, you know, becoming a morning star and then an evening star and then a morning star, you can't just think of Venus as just being the goddess of love and that's it. I mean, you've demonstrated that, you know, very clearly today with catastrophic events, you know, uh, on the Earth plane. And you know, Venus meeting with the Pleiades, just how intense and dark that happens to be for our experience as humans on the earth. And once again, as I said before, people will not make that correspondence. They will make this fairy tale story about Venus and the Pleiades, you know, and it's not all roses and chocolates and flowers. It's very serious business.
Well, well,
Mm.
it needs maybe some more upward notes about this not so tragic story. Is this omen
Mm.
just showing that many things will change globally?
Yeah,
I think this is the meaning of this omen,
right. Yeah, yeah.
and so
But
a
I think
period of
so.
upheavals, of
Yeah,
changes.
yeah, yeah. Which is exactly what's going on. I didn't know that the Seven Sisters, that those stars were uh, you know, were helpers of Nergal, of Mars, and that they represented wrath and anger and fury, etc. I didn't know that. That's a very mind-blowing for me personally. I had a feeling there was something there, you know, quite dark about them, but I didn't know that exact detail. That tells me a lot. It should
Sebit,
tell
they
all of us.
in the in Babylon, these seven demons, Sebitu, they use them as the Greeks and the Romans used the Gorgona Medusa,
Yeah.
like protection. They would put these seven spirits of the Pleiades. Uh, they were like they would look like soldiers with swords, seven of them. So they will put them on the entrance to the city or to the entrance of the house for protection.
Protection. Wow.
Yeah,
So they have a double kind of face, you know, on one spectrum they can be really evil, and then on the other spectrum they can be a source of protection, is what you're saying, right?
this is, you see, the logic is the same as with the Gorgona Medusa.
Yeah.
Like the Hellenists, not only the Greeks,
Mm.
but all Hellenists uh, used the Gorgona Medusa for protection.
Protection.
But
Yeah.
what is the meaning behind this is that uh, these terrible spirits, Sibitu, Gorgona, Medusa, they um, they are going after the bad guys. They
Mm.
are going after the bad guys. So,
That's a very important point that you just made. That's a very important distinction for people to understand. Yeah. Mm.
uh, so
Mm.
it was believed in ancient Hellas that if someone enters a place which is faced by the Gorgona Medusa,
Mm.
if he is pure, if he doesn't have some bad thoughts about this place, everything will be okay
Mhm.
with him. But if if the case is the opposite,
Yeah.
then
The demon comes out. Yeah. Yeah.
then
Mm.
these spirits will go after this bad guy
Mm.
and will protect the place.
Yeah. It's fascinating. Mm.
So you see, these destructive forces, you know, without regard who is right and who is wrong in these wars here
Mm.
in Ukraine and in Iran, um, you know, it seems that the forces of destruction are gaining power,
Mm.
are gaining more and more power.
Mm.
So Ukraine first, now on the top of this, Iran.
Mm. Mm.
Um, so this like I have the feeling that we are in something like a slow motion apocalypse.
Mm.
You know, like uh, 2020 COVID
Mm.
and 22 the war. Now 26 another one.
Yeah.
Um, and we should also take in account that in 2014 the spring equinox entered into the second Dodecatemoria of the Babylonian Pisces,
Mm-hmm.
which is under Aries, Mars,
Nice. Right. Okay.
Nergal. Nergal.
Mm. Mm.
Nergal is the god of pestilence, of plague, of COVID,
Yeah. Yeah.
war,
Yeah.
bloodshed.
How long are we in that Bodhikotomoria for? How long is
Oh,
that?
it is for 180 years.
108.
80, 180.
180. Okay. So that's
We have a lot to
yeah.
go. Yeah, but you see, this is a time of very high energy.
Yeah.
So uh, in such time, also it's like fire, which will prove uh, who is of gold and who is not of gold,
Mm.
and how pure is the gold. the fire proves the gold. Everything else is
Mm,
finished,
mm,
disappears, and only the gold remains. In such critical situations, people become either demons or saints,
mm.
angels. So this is a time
Mm.
of super big spiritual opportunity.
Yeah, yeah. That's how I see it too. That's how I feel actually about it. More and more each day, more and more. Even though it is extremely difficult, for all of us, to be living through what we are seeing, but it is the ultimate, I feel like you just said, the ultimate spiritual test. And it's not a mental thing. It's not, you can't, it's not about, your ideas and how smart you think you are and how intelligent you think you are. It's really about where your heart is. That's so important.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's so important. It feels, what you just said feels really powerful. Yeah.
So it was said, I believe, by one Zen master that it is not important what happens to us,
Mm.
but what is important is
Yeah.
how we react to what happens to us.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. Yeah. I've
So
always I've always believed that what you just said. I mean, it took me years to learn that, but for many years now, that's always been part of my thinking, as best as I can. Because life is life. There's always going to be so much going on, and we just happen to be, at a time in history where we're at the, quite an extreme end of it. And it's like you just said, and like the Zen master said, it's not about what happens, it's about how you respond and how you react. And so it is an opportunity, for tremendous spiritual elevation and growth, which once again doesn't come from the mind, it comes from your heart. So yeah, it's a big test for all of us. It's exciting actually in that way when you feel into that. It feels very magical actually, but you have to go beyond the appearances, beyond the, you know, uh, how much money you have or what you are doing or what you are not, it's got nothing to do with any of that, I feel. There's something much deeper that's being birthed, from the source that's coming directly into us, and it is giving us an opportunity to see actually whether we can walk the walk or do we just talk the talk.
yeah.
Yeah, that's how it feels.
So also uh, today I looked in the chart of Epstein,
Oh,
so I will share again. Okay, let's see. Is this Epstein here? Yeah. This is the chart of Epstein, which I think we looked at the last time, right?
yes.
All right. So I want to see also the perigee of the moon, and you see there is a conjunction: Venus, Mars, and the perigee
Mm.
in the chart of Epstein.
So can you just briefly summarize again for people that may not have seen the previous video we did, because we did talk about this. So what does it mean for that perigee position to be in conjunction with Venus and Mars? I know it describes him, but for people who don't know and didn't see the previous video, little summary.
The perigee is the place in the lunar orbit where the moon is maximum close to the Earth,
Mm,
closest,
yeah.
and 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 this point has tremendous energy, which is I would think about this like energy which are like focusing people where the perigee is, like they
Mm,
just focus
hmm.
on this. um
So he was focused on through the Mars and the Venus, sexual energy, lust, desire,
yes,
all
yes,
those things. Yes.
yes,
In a dark, very
absolutely.
dark way. Yeah. That's so
um
fascinating.
so this here is a very strong energy, uh and there are like mainly two options here. One option is if the person is on a higher spiritual level, then this is a super kind of engine of
Mm,
energy.
mm,
But if the opposite is the case, then they can be obsessed by spirits
mm,
which are which have the same character.
mm,
Because you see, I am thinking about the perigee of the moon
mm.
like this monster from the Greek mythology, echidna,
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 echidna, yeah.
echidna, which is this half snake, half woman
Mm,
with 100 snakes,
yeah.
uh, which is actually like I would correlate this to the uh, how to say it, like the uh, attraction
Hmm.
attraction to the material, to the pleasures of the material.
Mm,
Greed for physicality, greed for everything physical.
mm, mm.
um, and
I just want to show this picture to, well, just to look at this picture here. Can, oh no, hang on, that's too small. Well, anyway, here's another one. Can you see that, Rumen?
wait a moment, I must stop sharing
Oh no, no, don't worry about it then. It's okay.
and look at
Can you, you've got a picture of her, but your picture is quite pretty. I found some really ugly, demonic looking pictures.
of echidna.
Yeah. I just wanted to show people what she looks like because she's quite, it depends which picture you look at her because the picture you've got, she looks very seductive, right? She's a seductress.
Oh yeah, yeah,
But, we've got to remember that there's 100 snakes in her body, right?
absolutely. I am looking for her right now, uh, and I'll find her so that you can see her again. I think last time did I project her?
Yeah, you showed a picture of her. It was like a drawing, pencil
Hmm,
drawing.
hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Uh, okay.
And so what we're saying is that the perigee moon holds this vibration. That's what you're saying, right?
This one here.
Yeah. See, she looks really pretty,
Oh yeah, yeah.
you know?
This is how she attracts attracts travelers
Mm.
and then eats them.
Eats them. So behind, for those of you that are looking, they're very faint in this picture, but there's all these ugly demonic snakes behind her that that just have pure venom, that will just, once that gets into you, you're gone.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So so
Mm.
here we have this chart. Mars Venus conjunct with the perigee. Okay, we can ask the question, how often does this happen? How often we have Mars, Venus, and the perigee conjunct?
Yes, good question. I'd like to know the answer.
And after computations,
hmm
I came to the conclusion that this happens once every 5 years,
Okay.
around.
Hmm. Okay.
So
Hmm.
it will be, you see, it will be much more dramatic
Hmm.
if we had this same thing here, Mars conjunct Venus conjunct the perigee, and at the same time they were invisible.
Yes. Yes.
So this kind of situation happens once every 19 years.
To have them invisible and conjunct the perigee moon.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Thank God it doesn't happen too frequently.
Uh,
Wow. Okay. And that chart you just showed, that's part of the next Placidus program, right? That you're in the
yeah.
process of still developing, which is amazing. There's so much more in that program, things that you can see that you can't see in the current program. So that's going to be very exciting when that's complete as well. Yeah. But you're so busy, you're writing because the material we looked at today about Venus's cycles corresponds to a book that you are writing at the moment, right? Which has quite a few
Yes.
different things in it because you're not only looking at Venus, you're looking at cycles of, I think, all the planets in this particular book, right? From
Yes.
cycles from
For now, Mercury and Venus.
Mercury and Venus. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. And so potentially this year, at some stage this year, perhaps closer to the end of the year, maybe, I don't know, but we'll be able to have access to the new Placidus program and to this book, hopefully.
I hope so. I hope so.
Yeah, that will be amazing.
Because there will be also the cycles of Venus and Mercury with other planets
Yes, that's what I remember. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
and different myths from Hellas and from Babylon.
Hmm.
Different myths and how they are played out on the sky,
Yeah. Yeah.
like the myth of Nergal and Ereshkigal.
Hmm.
Like we had, I think was it on the 8th of January 2026 when we had a meeting between Nergal and Ereshkigal,
Yes. Yes.
right?
Yes. Both
I think so.
invisible in the underworld. Yeah.
So if I go here, I'll go dynamic.
hmm
It will. change the time.
Guys, for those of you present, thank you for your lovely comments and appreciation. We appreciate you very much. I just want to put it out there. Does anybody have a specific question relative to what we have discussed today that isn't clear to you or that you'd like to ask? If there is, please put it in the chat and I will read it out to Rumen. But please keep it relative to the content that we are discussing today.
So this year is January 8, 2026.
Yeah.
We have Mars, Venus, invisible,
Mm,
exact conjunction with the Sun,
yeah.
and this is happening when Venus is together with Mars behind the Sun.
Yeah.
So this is the second meeting
Yeah.
between Nergal and Ereshkigal.
Yeah. Yeah.
The second meeting. So uh, the first meeting, which will follow, will be in 2030, January.
That's which meeting is that in 2030?
This is the first meeting when Venus is on the other side of the Sun,
Okay.
and the first meeting, Nergal escapes. You know, he yeah he spent 6 nights and 6 days with Ereshkigal, and then on the seventh day,
Hmm.
while Ereshkigal was asleep, he's like,
So that's happening in 2030.
yeah, in 2030, January is the meeting. Um, yeah, the first one,
The first one.
when he escaped. And this year,
Yeah.
January the 8th,
Yeah.
was the final meeting.
Okay, got it. Yeah.
The
So the
final
cycle,
meeting,
so the cycle starts again in 2030.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So for those of you that just heard a little glimpse of what Roman was just sharing there, this is a very, very fascinating, complex, and interesting astronomical, astrological, mythological way of understanding Venus and Mars and their very specific cycle when they come together at different times and when they are both invisible out of the sky, which is them in the underworld meeting together. Mars and Venus in this context are known as Nergal and Ereshkigal. Now, Rumen has an extraordinary webinar on this very precise subject. And I know it's extraordinary because I have the webinar and I've sat for hours listening to it over and over and over again. If you are interested in the Mars Venus cycle, you should be, because Mars and Venus are the two primary archetypal energies, really, of the masculine and the feminine in yourself, in everybody else, and in the earth, apart from the sun and the moon, of course. But long story short, they really help you understand the different cycles that we go through in the world of relationships. So that's a webinar that you can access through Rumen. I will have Rumen's details underneath this video. You can contact him directly, or you can certainly come to me as well. Rumen, I have a question here from a viewer, and I'll put it to you and allow you to answer it. The person asks, can you expand more on how to find the seven sister cluster in birth chart? So I know how to answer that, but I'll let you answer that.
Okay. Now, uh, I will change the time a little bit here,
Is this
and
going
will show you the
going to the
Pleiades.
okay, so this is to Maria Mack. We're going to your question now, so hopefully you're still there.
Okay. So you see where are the Pleiades here?
Mm-hmm.
This is Taurus,
Mm-hmm.
Babylonian. The Pleiades are in the fifth and the sixth degree of the Babylonian zodiac. However, now we will look also in the tropical one.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. This is the beauty of Rumens program. You can switch from tropical to Babylonian in 1 second.
So in
Mhm.
the tropical, they're right on the border between Taurus and Gemini. They're like the first degree of Gemini and the 30th degree of Taurus.
Mm. Mm. So did everybody catch that? Basically, the Pleiades in the Babylonian zodiac, they sit at the, what was it, the first couple of degrees of Taurus, yes?
Yeah, the fifth and the sixth.
The fifth and the sixth, sorry, fifth and sixth, that's important. 5 and 6 degrees of Taurus, Babylonian. And in the tropical zodiac, if you're looking at your tropical chart, which I know most people tend to look at that chart more, the Pleiades sit right at the end of Taurus or at the beginning of Gemini in that zone just there, 30 degrees Taurus, 1 degree Gemini. So if you've got planets at the 30th degree of Taurus or 1 degrees of Gemini, then you got the Pleiades right there. If you are looking at your Babylonian birth chart and you have planets at the first, fifth or sixth degree of Taurus, then that planet is conjunct the Pleiades. So that's basically how you would discover it.
In the in some traditions, uh, Hermetic traditions, the Pleiades are the stars of magic and of magical powers,
Mhm.
especially of powers over the spirits.
Hmm.
So, if someone has moon or sun conjunction the
Mhm.
Pleiades, um, they or Mars also,
Mhm.
especially if there is moon Mars Pleiades conjunction, then this is the best.
Mhm.
Then these people can possess magical powers,
Right. Right.
occult power.
Right. That's very interesting. I just did a reading for a lady not so long ago who has her son in Babylonian astrology, her son right on the Pleiades on the midheaven. And yeah, she was so excited about that. It was an amazing reading. She actually said to me, because she's had a few readings from me in the last couple of years, and she said to me, "This is my favorite reading you've ever done for me, this Babylonian one." So it was a really great experience. I'm happy to hear you say that about this other side, that does possess the occult and the magic, that people can access that, and like you said, if it's the sun, moon, and you said Mars as well. I'm curious about that. Why Mars? Is it because Mars had them helping him? Is that why? Yeah. 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 That's so fascinating. What about Venus? If someone has their natal Venus conjunct the Pleiades.
You see, the Pleiades, they are the test because these people may have such powers and then how they use them.
Mm.
How do they use them? And so it is the test will come through the planet which is there.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
If it is Venus, it will be love.
Mm.
If it is Jupiter, it will be status. If
Mm.
it is Saturn, it will be power.
Wow.
So
So is it with each planet, even though each planet describes obviously different characteristics or different phenomena that derive from that divinity or that archetype, is it the case that with whichever planet it is, there is still this level of there's a test there for you to see how you can use or integrate that energy with that divinity and the Pleiades for the highest good versus, you know, using that energy for your own selfish greed only. Is that test still there for all of them? I would think that would be the case.
absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. That's so
Absolutely.
interesting. So the Pleiades guys, and are multifaceted actually. From what we've discussed today, there's a lot of different layers to these the seven sisters or the seven demons. There's a lot of different ways this can play out. And in one way, it's logical, even though this is not necessarily a logical thought, what I'm about to say, but it is in one way, in that anything that is happening in your chart, right? Whatever your chart looks like when you were born, and whatever happens, all the cycles that come in as you, however long you live, all of that will play out based on your own soul and heart. What is going on there is going to come through those planets and those divinities, always going to be that. Would you agree with that, Rumen? Because that's how I feel when I'm looking at a chart. Somebody could have, for example, the most, extraordinary stars and aspects, and they can be the most terrible, terrible, evil person, for example. It's so it's about our own evolution and consciousness and remembering, I like to say God, very simply put. Mm.
Every myth, every myth has a limitless number of interpretations.
Yeah.
So if we have 100 people with one and the same myth playing out in their charts,
Mm.
the interpretation will be a little bit different for each one.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That's why the myth is a myth, because it has limitless number of interpretations. If you write down an interpretation of a given myth, very good, very good. But this interpretation will be only one of many other possible.
Mm. Mm. There's a wonderful quote by a man called Joseph Campbell, and I might be slightly paraphrasing, but he said, the psychotic swims in the same waters that the mystic delights in.
Absolutely.
I think that is one of the most extraordinary quotes to reflect and describe that everything is in those waters, everything. And what we are tuned into depends on us. The The bliss and the psychosis exist in the same waters. The saint, the sinner exist in the same waters. It's what we are tuning into based on our consciousness and awareness.
Well, let me finish with one story,
Yeah, please do.
about illustrating this word. The story is about one Sufi guy, dervish, um, and he was traveling. He was traveling through the country, and when he reached a village, it was getting dark. The sun has set, and he was looking for somewhere to sleep. And well, and he didn't find anything except the mosque.
Hmm.
So this Sufi traveling Sufi, like several hundred years ago, let's say in Persia.
Hmm.
So he entered the mosque and he fell asleep there.
Hmm.
In the morning, the all the Muslims from the village went to the mosque to pray.
Hmm.
And what on earth they find there? They found there this Sufi sleeping. So and and they could tell that this guy is dervish Sufi from his clothes.
Hmm.
And they didn't like the dervish.
Hmm.
Uh, and because many will consider them heretics,
Hmm.
and they beat him, beat him, and then throw his body down the steps of the mosque. And then this guy is falling, and every step his head is hitting on the step. And there were like 7 steps down. So when his head hit the first step, he was saying Alhamdulillah, which means praise be to God, praise be to God.
Hmm.
And then he enters the first heaven.
Hmm.
On the second time, he says, praise be to God. And he enters the second heaven. And then all the 7 heavens. And then when he reaches the earth, he is one with God.
Wow.
So this is like, you know, like an illustration
Hmm.
of what is important is how we experience things,
Yeah,
our reaction,
that's a
our
beautiful,
emotions
beautiful
inside.
story. Yeah. It is a very powerful illustration, Rumen, of how we respond, how we react to what we experience. That's such a powerful story. I love that. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much, Rumen. That was wonderful. Really wonderful. Really beautiful, wonderful, magical. Learnt some new things again today. It was wonderful. And it was great. There's a lot of people that showed up today. Maybe this is a better time for people, I think, because there's many more people here today. Yeah, which is wonderful. Thank you, everybody, for being present. We really appreciate you. I hope you really appreciate this extraordinary man, Mr. Rumen KOLEV. sharing his time generously for free with all of us and giving us this beautiful wisdom and beautiful things to really consider, even just in our own life. Although we touched in the beginning of some really extraordinary large cycles relative to Venus and how that corresponds to the matters happening on the earth at different times, we can also think about everything we spoke about today from our point in our position in life, with where our heart is, every single day, every single moment. Because again, it does come back to no matter what happens, it's about how we respond to what happens. So I think that's been the most,
Absolutely.
yeah, the takeaway of today on that esoteric spiritual level, which is a wonderful meditation for us to keep inside every day, every day. Yeah, yeah. All
Good
right.
luck.
Thank you. Thank you everyone for being here. Thank you so much, Roman. We really, really appreciate your time and your wisdom. Love you very much. I'm going to message you shortly in Messenger. Going to end the recording for today, and we will see you very soon again. Thank you so much, Roman. Thank you. And thanks everybody. We'll see you soon. Thanks, guys.